In a peaceful village, nestled among vast, green rice fields, lived a young man named Sina. From the outside, it seemed Sina had a perfect life. The villagers would often say how lucky he was. He had a cozy little house, a family that was healthy and strong, and there was always enough food on their table each day. But deep inside, Sina didn't feel lucky at all. A cloud of discontent followed him everywhere he went. Every morning, he would wake up, look out his window, and see the lives of others. His mind would start to churn with comparisons. He'd say to himself, "Look at their house. It's so much bigger than mine." Then he'd see someone walk by in fine clothes and think, "They have better clothes than I do." At mealtimes, the smell of his neighbor's cooking would drift over, and he'd sigh, "They're eating better food than we are." The same question echoed in his mind, day after day. Why don't I have more? Instead of feeling thankful for what he possessed, Sina was trapped in a cycle of comparison, always wanting what others had. One day, tired of this heavy feeling in his heart, Sina decided to seek wisdom. He made the journey up a nearby hill to visit an old monk who was famous throughout the region for his profound wisdom and inner peace. When Sina finally stood before him, he poured out his troubles. "Master," he began, his voice filled with desperation, "why do I always feel so unhappy? I have many things, but my heart is never satisfied. It's always empty, always wanting more. How can I learn to be happy with what I have?" The old monk listened patiently, a gentle, knowing smile playing on his lips. He didn't offer a long lecture or a complicated answer. Instead, he simply said, "Come back tomorrow morning, and when you do, bring an empty basket." Confused but hopeful, Sina returned the next morning, an empty woven basket in his hand. The monk greeted him and gave him a strange task. "Go to the market," he instructed. "For every person you see who has more than you, put a small stone into your basket." Sina nodded and set off on his journey. He walked through the bustling village and into the market. It didn't take long for his task to begin. First, he saw a wealthy merchant standing proudly in front of a grand, newly built house. Plink. He picked up a small stone and dropped it into his basket. A little further on, he saw a woman adorned with sparkling, fancy jewelry, laughing with her friends. Plink. Another stone went into the basket. Then, he passed a family gathered outside their home, enjoying a lavish meal with many delicious-looking dishes. Plink. A third stone joined the others. He continued this all morning. His arms ached, and sweat dripped from his forehead as he dragged himself back up the hill to the monk. "Master," he panted, setting the heavy basket down with a thud. "The basket is so heavy. I can't carry it anymore. My shoulders are burning." The old monk laughed, a soft, gentle sound that seemed to float on the breeze. "That," he said, pointing to the basket full of stones, "is how you have been living your life. You walk around every single day, carrying these heavy stones of comparison. How can you ever feel light and happy when you are carrying such a heavy weight on your shoulders?" Sina stared at the basket, then at his own hands, and fell silent. The monk's words hit him with the force of truth. He had been carrying this burden for so long, he hadn't even realized how heavy it had become. The monk let the lesson sink in before speaking again. "Come back tomorrow," he sighed calmly, "and bring the same empty basket." The next morning, feeling a little lighter after emptying the stones, Sina returned to the monk with his basket. The monk gave him a new instruction. "Go to the market again," he said. "But this time, for every person you see who has less than you, put a handful of rice into the basket." Sina set off once more, but this time, he was looking at the world with different eyes. He walked through the same village streets, but he noticed things he had overlooked before. He saw an old woman living alone in a small hut, with no one to help her with her daily chores. His heart felt a pang of compassion, and he scooped a generous handful of rice into his basket. He continued his walk and saw a young boy playing in the dirt, his clothes torn and patched in several places. The boy had a bright smile, but his poverty was clear. Sina added another handful of rice to his basket. A little later, he saw a man who was clearly sick and frail, yet he was still working hard in a field, trying to provide for his family. Sina's heart went out to him, and he put another handful of rice into the basket. He saw a family sharing a meager meal, a person with no shoes, someone begging on the street. With each person he saw who had less than him, his heart swelled not with pride, but with a deep, quiet sense of gratitude for his own life. He filled his basket with rice, handful by handful. By midday, the basket was full to the brim with grains of rice. As he walked back up the hill to the monk, he noticed something amazing. The basket was full, yet it felt surprisingly light. He could carry it easily, without any strain. He arrived before the monk, a genuine smile on his face. "Master," he exclaimed, "the basket is completely full, but it's not heavy at all. I can carry it." "So easily," the monk smiled back, his eyes twinkling. "When you fill your mind with comparisons to those who have more, your life becomes heavy and burdensome, like a basket of stones." It wasn't in a bigger house, or fancier clothes, or more delicious food. It was already there, right inside him, waiting to be discovered. It was in the gratitude for what he had, the compassion for others, and the joy of sharing. Sina had been searching for a treasure all over the world, only to find it was in his own home, in his own heart, all along. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content that helps us find peace in our daily lives.